Hey guys, my name is Miska and welcome to Overwatch Central. Lately I've been keeping track of characters that have been doing better or worse. I've been keeping track of pick rates and win rates and such to try and apply that to my character pool to play characters that I think are really fun, that I kind of know, but that are also doing fairly well, so I just have more fun and better games. One character that's been doing really well lately is Orisa, and I'm sure all of you have heard that, oh yeah, Orisa's doing great right now and bunker comp is a fantastic comp, all that stuff. But today I wanted to talk about why she is doing so well and other characters that have had the same sort of 3-4 things applied to them that have also done really well in the past, and what you can kind of do to try and recognize these things in your own games to play characters that are just better in your environment. Thanks to HyperX for their continued support as well. Check them out via the link in the pinned top comment and let us know what sort of giveaways and things you'd like to see from HyperX on this channel. Let's begin with how popular Orisa actually is. Right now, Orisa is the 5th most played character this week in competitive. On PC, that is. On PlayStation, I think it's the 3rd most played, and on Xbox, it's the 4th most played. So across the board, Orisa is just really popular right now. On top of that, what really sticks out is that her win rate is so much higher than any other character's average across all skill tiers in the top there. I don't think Orisa's ever been this high up on the board if I'm not mistaken, and with growing popularity of bunker comps and other comps like it kind of makes sense, but she didn't get here overnight. In fact, this is the last 6 months of Orisa pick rate. So last year December, you can see on this graph how she's only just above 1% pick rate, but has over the last 2 months or so picked up a lot and is now just very popular. So heroes do come and go in popularity a lot, but it's the way that she's been able to maintain this incredible win rate too. So an average of 54.56% win rate across all tiers on PC, and if you compare that to heroes like D.Va and Ana in the same category, who are both at around 51% win rate instead, that 54.56 number is pretty impressive for Orisa for sure. And this brings me to talk a bit about meta shifts, but primarily pub stompers or pub stomp stars, whatever you want to call them, stompers or the heroes. It can go by several names. In most hero-based games, you get these characters that really stick out as maybe not the best in esports, but really strong in ranked ladder, especially around the average skill level. If you've played a lot of Dota 2, this hero was, at least I haven't played it recently, Pudge for a long time. He was not played that much in esports level, but was very strong in ranked ladder, especially around average skill tiers. And I'm sure there are characters you can think of in other games that have filled that same role of just being very strong in all of the average skill tiers and being very annoying to deal with and filling that kind of pub stomper role or whatever you want to call it. Right now, Orisa has fallen into that role, so I want to quickly break down why she is doing well, especially in the gold to diamond tier where a lot of players are at. So I try to avoid playing Orisa on my own platinum account, just as a disclaimer. Since I have experience with her in other tiers, I try to play supports instead on that account. But sometimes, I'm sure you all know, you just have to play a specific role because of your team, so I have to play main tank and then I will probably go on Orisa. And these things have really stood out to me in Plat, as they're so much more amplified there compared to Masters. It's 3 things really, starting with being able to pose a threat on your own. An Orisa pull can be like really scary, it can pull you off a high ground or out in the open, so it's kind of a threat on its own, just that ability. The second thing is impressive damage and good pressure overall. Orisa can pressure pretty well on her own, close up, but also from a distance, and just keep firing with that big magazine size too. Third, people have issues pushing Orisa a lot, due to her own shield of course, but also just anti-CC, so that partial ability to be able to look after herself helps, but generally in middle rank games, people also don't coordinate as much, which Orisa can easily capitalize on with the rest of her kit and also just repositioning and being able to pull people back if she needs a little bit more time, all that stuff. So these 3 things of being able to pose a threat on your own, usually with one ability, impressive damage and good pressure overall, and just the entire character's kit making them somewhat difficult to push, at least in certain skill tiers. These are really the qualities that are making Orisa so strong across the board right now and not just in certain games or certain skill levels. If we look at characters that these apply to, the 3 that come in mind right now are of course Orisa right now, but the first one I think of as a previous one is actually Roadhog. I was experimenting a lot in Plat around that time and found that people were really struggling against Roadhog at that rank, and it was for these exact same reasons. And I hadn't played Roadhog before that either. I had no previous experience and still had this really high win rate. Sure, the game was different back then, but these same things very much applied and people were really struggling, and that helped me climb a lot of SR back then with a character that I had never played before. I also got Junkrat. His just incredibly high damage and of course hero switches not coming out enough in those ranks at the time meant he was super powerful for a long time in ranked because of buffs, but also just in general being a character that people struggled playing against at a lot of those sort of average skill levels. If we go back to that list, Roadhog had a hook instead of the Orisa pull, Junkrat had that mine with the ability to burst that was always scary against Junkrat. All these three characters have pretty good overall damage and pressure, especially Junkrat and Roadhog, but even Orisa honestly. And people have issues pushing these characters for various reasons. Junkrat has his trap, he has an escape with his mine, Roadhog has the heal and can also stay a little bit at range. All these things really apply to these characters, and there are other characters that these things have applied to, some not as much as others, but really the reason I'm bringing this up is because it's always good to look out for these heroes and who can be sort of the next pub stomper character, whatever you want to call them. This doesn't even have to be sort of across the board in all skill tiers sort of thing, but rather where you are playing and where your games are at. It's almost about finding these characters and almost exploiting that people can't really play against them as well in your games. A character I can see slotting into this in the future is honestly Mei with the right buffs. Currently, damage output with Mei is not reliable enough to consistently do super well in gold, plat and diamond, but she is very hard to push because of the wall and her own cryo freeze of course with that heal. So the wall is also just that scary ability on her own as well that is constantly kind of threatening if someone tries to go through a choke or something and walling up behind them. All of that sort of stuff really makes these same three qualities that I highlighted apply to this character too. She's just really lacking in that pressure and damage department. I'm sure you can find characters on your own when you are playing that just are consistently annoying to play against at your rank that teams are struggling against, be it your team or the enemy team. And if those happen to be characters that work well with your role and previous experience, then going over to those and learning them is definitely something that has helped me climb a lot in ranked over the years. And I wanted to highlight this because I feel like a lot of people are still of this mindset in Overwatch of looking at entire compositions all the time in ranked, when sometimes that's not too realistic, and instead you have to look at individual characters and kind of pose the question, what would be really annoying for my team to play against right now? What could they pick that would just be really annoying for me to play against? And then you can apply that same logic to your team instead, pick that character and be that annoying player that can maybe just be very difficult to play against at that rank, and finding those heroes can really help you out. Finally, do check out HyperX for some really solid gaming gear. They have the most used headset in the Overwatch League and their keyboards are growing a lot in popularity. I'm a big fan of the 10 keyless version of their keyboard, and I also use the HyperX Pulsefire FPS Pro mouse, which I really like. It just works very well for the size of my hand. They've been sponsoring this channel almost since the start, and yeah, we're just really appreciative of them, so definitely do check them out and tell them that we sent you. We've reached the end of the video though. Thank you very much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.